Hello, this is Mindy from Camping Earth, and today I'd like to show you how to create a survival tent. Now, there are many situations that you will need this skill, whether you're primitive camping, whether you're more traditionally camping, because sometimes Mother Nature dishes out some weird weather that causes us to lose what we were depending on as far as shelter. Now, to demonstrate that point, I'd like to tell you a little story. I was in Key West a few years ago, camping with my children's Boy Scout troop, and we got hit with a hurricane. Our tents were completely demolished, but we all knew how to create a survival tent. And knowing this skill, we were able to create shelter very quickly and weather through the storm. Now, what you will need for a survival tent is nothing more than what you should already carry anytime you go camping. The first thing that you're going to need is a tarp. You're going to need rope. You're going to need tent stakes. And you're going to need something that you can hammer the tent stakes into the ground. Now, I always carry extra tent stakes. I always carry a tarp because I can use it as a ground cloth. I can use it as a shelter. There's several different purposes that I can use a tarp. So I always carry at least one tarp. Rope, again, and we've discussed this, the importance of having rope, whether you're primitive camping or more of a traditional type of camping. So let's begin. The first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to find two trees that are spanned a distance that your rope will reach. Now, as you can see, this is kind of a guesstimate of the distance that you will need. Also, the size of your tarp will distinguish the distance between the two trees that you will need. Now, as a dry run, I just loosely tied one end of the rope to this tree, came over and loosely tied it on this tree here, and just tested to see if I had enough rope. Once I did that, I secured the rope to the trees. The next thing that I did is I folded over my tarp, and I secured this side with tent stakes using the grommets that most tarps have as the hose by which I put the tent stakes through. Then I simply, to finish the tent, I simply take this other end of the tent, and we've had a lot of rain here, so I'm just going to push this tent stake down to the ground. And if I have to, I'm going to hammer it into the ground. Now again, this is a survival shelter. This will get you out of the weather safe and sound. You could also lay an additional tarp on the inside to keep you out of any type of water from a storm and keep you off the dampness of the ground too. Another thing that you may consider doing if there's a chance of rain is creating a ditch around your tent. And what that will do is that will allow water to funnel into that ditch and then run away from your tent instead of running underneath the tent. Another alternative to this type of tent would be creating a lean-to. And a lean-to is created exactly the same way, but instead of securing this other side to the ground with the tent stakes, you would actually tie the tent at an angle to this rope, utilizing the grommets, and that will create that lean-to shape. This would be great, especially in the example I gave you at Key West. The wind was terrible. If we had created a lean-to and it blocked that wind and rain coming in, that would have helped out a lot. So anytime you're in a survival mode, whether you're camping, you're hiking, whatever the situation may be, don't forget this skill, creating a survival tent. So until we meet at the campsite again, this has been Mindy from Camping Earth.